The safe door was already halfway open when my sister grabbed my wrist. "Stop," she whispered. Not loud. Not angry. Terrified. I'd never seen her like that. Inside the safe were folders. Photos. And one sealed envelope with my name on it. That's when she started crying. "Please," she said. "If you love Mom, don't read that." But our mother had been dead for 3 days. And she left me the key. So I opened the envelope. And what I found inside made my stomach drop. Because if those papers were real, the woman we buried last week wasn't my mother. So who did we bury? The funeral ended before sunset. No one cried anymore. We were too tired. 3 days of visitors, casseroles, whispered condolences. And now the house felt hollow. My sister Emily stood in the kitchen washing the same plate for the 3rd time. Water running. Hands shaking. I was at the dining table staring at a small brass key our lawyer had handed me that morning. Mom's safe. The lawyer said she left specific instructions. Only I was supposed to open it. Not Emily. Not anyone else. Just me. That alone felt strange. Emily was older. Mom trusted her with everything. Bills. Doctor visits. Family decisions. But the safe. That was mine. I stood up. Emily noticed immediately. "You're not doing that tonight," she said. I didn't answer. The safe had been hidden in Mom's bedroom closet for as long as I could remember. Old steel. Gray paint chipped on the edges. Combination dial. But the lawyer said the dial had already been unlocked. All I needed was the key. The hallway felt colder than the rest of the house. Emily followed me. "Ryan," she said quietly. "Maybe we should wait." I kept walking. Mom's bedroom still smelled like her perfume. Lavender. And something medicinal. The closet door creaked when I opened it. The safe sat on the floor behind a row of winter coats. Silent. Waiting. I knelt down. The dial was already turned. Just like the lawyer said. Emily stepped into the doorway. Her voice was tight. "Ryan, please." I slid the key into the lock. It clicked. And that's when she rushed forward and grabbed my wrist. Hard. "Don't," she said. I looked up. Emily's face was pale. Not sad. Not grieving. Afraid. "Why?" I asked. She shook her head immediately. "You won't understand." That answer only made me turn the key. The lock popped. Emily let go of my arm like she'd touched fire. The heavy door creaked open. Inside the safe were 3 things. A stack of folders. A bundle of old photographs tied with string. And one white envelope. My name written on the front. Ryan. In Mom's handwriting. Emily covered her mouth. "Please don't read that," she whispered. Her reaction made no sense. Mom had just died. What could possibly be inside that envelope? I reached for the photographs first. Old Polaroids. Most of them were normal. Birthday parties. Family road trips. Christmas mornings. But then I noticed something strange. In almost every photo before I turned 5, Mom looked different. Not older. Different. Her hair was shorter. Her smile tighter. And in some photos? Emily wasn't there. Where was Emily when these were taken? I asked. Emily didn't answer. She was staring at the envelope. Like it was radioactive. I untied the bundle of photos. One picture slipped out and landed on the floor. I picked it up. A hospital room. A newborn baby in a nurse's arms. The nurse was smiling. Behind her stood a woman. Holding the baby's wrist gently. But it wasn't Mom. I stared at the photo. Then at Emily. "Who is that?" I asked. Emily's breathing became shallow. "That picture shouldn't be there," she said. I flipped the photo over. There was handwriting on the back. A date. And 3 words. Ryan's real mother. The room went silent. I looked slowly toward the envelope. Emily shook her head immediately. Tears running down her face now. "Ryan, please. If you open that, everything changes." I picked up the envelope. My hand suddenly felt heavy. "Everything already changed," I said quietly. And then I tore it open. Inside was a single document. Official. Stamped. A hospital birth record. I read the mother's name once. Then again. Because it wasn't the name of the woman we buried 3 days ago. And the father's name? Made my stomach drop. Because I recognized it. It belonged to someone who had been at the funeral. Standing right beside us. Watching the coffin go into the ground. The name on the birth record was Daniel Mercer. My hand started shaking the moment I read it. Because Daniel Mercer wasn't a stranger. He had been standing at my mother's funeral. Right next to Emily. Right next to me. Like he belonged there. I slowly looked up from the paper. Emily was already crying. "You weren't supposed to find that," she whispered. I stood up so fast the safe door slammed shut. "Daniel Mercer?" I said. My voice echoed in the bedroom. That's the name on this. Emily wiped her face with shaking hands. Ryan, just sit down. Why was he at Mom's funeral? She didn't answer. Emily. Still nothing. My chest tightened. Emily, why is the man who carried Mom's coffin listed as my father? Her eyes snapped shut. That was answer enough. The room spun. Daniel Mercer. The quiet man in the gray suit. The one who hugged Emily first at the cemetery. The one she called Uncle Dan. I grabbed the photographs again. My fingers were moving faster now. Searching. Digging. And then I found another one. A picture of Mom standing beside Daniel Mercer. Much younger. Maybe 30. They were standing outside a hospital. Emily was next to them. About 6 years old. But something about the photo felt wrong. Mom wasn't standing close to him. Emily was. Her hand was wrapped around his arm. Like she already knew him. Like he wasn't just an uncle. I turned the photo toward Emily. How long have you known him? Her silence stretched for seconds. Then she said something that made the air leave my lungs. Since I was a kid. A cold knot formed in my stomach. You knew my father my whole life? Emily shook her head quickly. It's not that simple. It sounds pretty simple. My voice was rising now. You knew him. Mom knew him. And nobody told me. Ryan, you let me grow up thinking Dad died before I was born. Emily's voice cracked. Because that's what Mom wanted. The words hit the room like glass breaking. I stared at her. You're telling me Mom lied about my father for 32 years? Emily sat down on the edge of the bed. Her face looked older than I'd ever seen it. She didn't lie, she said quietly. She hid something. That's the same thing. No, Emily whispered. It isn't. I walked back to the safe. The folders were still inside. 3 of them. Each labeled with dates. The earliest one, 1991. The year I was born. My hands hesitated. Ryan, Emily said carefully. If you read those, her voice trailed off. You'll hate her. I froze. The idea felt impossible. Mom had been everything. Kind. Patient. The person who showed up to every game. Every birthday. Every terrible school play. But the birth record in my hand said something different. It said the truth about my life had been sitting in this safe for 32 years. And everyone but me knew it. I opened the first folder. Inside were hospital forms. Medical reports. Doctor signatures. Most of them were about a woman named Claire Morgan. I didn't recognize the name. Until I saw the next page. A photograph clipped to a medical file. A woman lying in a hospital bed. Blonde hair. Exhausted. Holding a newborn baby. Me. My throat tightened. That's my mother, I whispered. Emily nodded slowly. Yes. The word echoed in the room. My real mother. The woman in the photo. The one we never talked about. The one whose name had never been spoken in this house. I flipped to the next page. A death certificate. The date stopped my breathing. 2 days after my birth. Claire Morgan. Cause of death, complications during delivery. The room felt suddenly smaller. So she died, I said quietly. Emily nodded. Yes. And Mom adopted me? Emily swallowed. No, the word landed wrong. My eyes snapped to her. What do you mean no? Emily wiped another tear away. She didn't adopt you. My stomach twisted. Then what did she do? Emily looked toward the safe. Toward the folders. Toward the truth we were digging into. Then she whispered something that made my blood run cold. She took you. Silence filled the room. My heart started pounding. Took me? Emily nodded. From the hospital. The words barely sounded real. You're saying Mom kidnapped me? Emily shook her head. No, her voice was trembling now. Daniel Mercer asked her to. The name hit like thunder. Daniel Mercer. My supposed father. The man at the funeral. The man who helped lower the coffin. I stared at Emily in disbelief. You're telling me my father asked Mom to steal me? Emily didn't answer immediately. Instead she whispered something even worse. No, Ryan. Her voice was barely audible. He didn't ask her to steal you. A chill crawled up my spine. Then what? Emily looked directly at me. And said the one sentence that changed everything again. He asked her to hide you. The room felt too small to breathe in. Hide me. I said. The words sounded ridiculous. But Emily didn't laugh. She just nodded slowly. Yes. My mind was racing. You expect me to believe my father asked Mom to hide his own child for 32 years? Emily rubbed her temples like the memory physically hurt. It wasn't supposed to be that long. That's not an answer. She stood up and walked to the safe. Then she pulled out the second folder. The label read 1994. 3 years after I was born. Emily hesitated before handing it to me. You need to understand something first, she said. Mom wasn't the villain here. I opened the folder anyway. Inside were newspaper clippings. Old. Yellowing. The first headline froze my blood. Local businessman under federal investigation. A photo was printed below it. Daniel Mercer. Younger. But unmistakable. Standing outside a courthouse. Flanked by lawyers. I flipped the page. Another headline. Mercer shipping linked to money laundering case. Then another. Federal raid on Mercer warehouse. My stomach tightened. Mom hid me because my father was a criminal? Emily shook her head. No, her voice dropped lower. Because someone wanted you dead. The words barely registered. Dead? Emily pointed at the article. Look at the date. The year I was born. I kept reading. The article mentioned organized crime. Smuggling. Witness protection rumors. And then one paragraph that made my hands start shaking again. Sources claim Mercer may testify against multiple crime figures connected to the shipping investigation. I looked up. Witness testimony? Emily nodded. Daniel Mercer was about to testify against people who controlled half the ports on the East Coast. A cold realization formed. And they threatened his family. Yes. My chest tightened. Claire Morgan was killed because of that? Emily didn't answer. She just pointed to the next document. A police report. The heading read, Suspected Homicide, Claire Morgan. My throat closed. She didn't die during childbirth, I whispered. Emily shook her head slowly. No, the room felt like it tilted. The death certificate says complications. That's what the hospital reported. Her voice cracked. But Mom found out the truth later. I kept reading. The report was short. Too short. But one line stood out. Victim believed to have been poisoned within 24 hours of delivery. My hands went numb. They murdered her, I said. Emily nodded. Yes. And they were looking for the baby. The sentence hung between us. The baby. Me. I sat down on the floor beside the safe. The weight of the past pressed into my chest. So Daniel Mercer asked Mom to hide me because those people were hunting his family. Emily nodded again. He thought if no one knew you existed, you'd be safe. And Mom agreed? She saved you. The words echoed in my head. Saved me. But something still didn't fit. A detail kept scratching at the back of my mind. Wait, I said slowly. Emily looked up. You said he asked Mom to hide me. Yes. But he still visited. I remembered the funeral again. Daniel standing close to Emily. Not like a stranger. Not like someone meeting us for the first time. Why was he around if hiding me was so important? Emily froze. Her expression changed. A flicker of panic. And suddenly I knew. You stayed in contact with him, I said. Emily looked down. Emily. She didn't respond. Emily, how long have you been talking to him? Her voice barely came out. Since I was 16. 16. My chest tightened. You've been secretly meeting my father for half my life? He wanted to see you. Then why didn't he? Emily's eyes filled with tears again. Because Mom made him promise not to. Silence settled over the room again. Mom had kept him away. Protected the lie. Protected me. But another thought suddenly hit. A colder one. If the danger was real, I said slowly, then why did he come to the funeral? Emily's breathing became uneven. Because she knew the answer. He didn't want to, she whispered. A chill ran down my spine. What do you mean? Emily looked directly at me. Fear flashing across her face again. The same people who killed Claire, her voice trembled. They never stopped looking. The air turned heavy. Looking for me? Emily nodded. Yes. My pulse started hammering again. But no one knew I existed. Emily swallowed hard. That's what we thought. A long pause followed. Then she said something that made the blood drain from my face. Until yesterday. The words echoed in my head. Yesterday. What happened yesterday? I asked. Emily's voice dropped to a whisper. The man who killed Claire Morgan, my stomach twisted, was at the funeral. Every nerve in my body went cold. What? Emily stepped closer. Her voice shaking now. He didn't come to mourn Mom. My heart was pounding so loud I could barely hear her. He came, she said. To finally find you. The room went completely still. The killer was at the funeral? I said. Emily nodded. Her eyes looked hollow now. Yes. A slow chill crept down my spine. Who was it? Emily didn't answer immediately. Instead, she walked back to the safe. And pulled out the last folder. The label read 2023. Just 1 year ago. My stomach tightened. Mom kept records this whole time? I asked. Emily nodded. She never stopped watching. Watching. The word sounded strange. Like Mom had been guarding something. Or someone. She handed me the folder. My fingers hesitated before opening it. Inside were printed emails, police reports, and surveillance photos. My heart started pounding when I saw the first picture. A man standing across the street from our house. Taken from behind a curtain. The timestamp said March 2023. Just months before Mom died. Mom took these? I asked. Emily nodded. She thought someone was following you. I flipped the page. Another photo. The same man. Different day. Different street. Always watching. My chest tightened. Did Mom call the police? Yes. Emily pointed to a report clipped to the folder. I read the summary quickly. No identifiable suspect. Case unresolved. The police had written it off. But Mom hadn't. She kept watching. Kept documenting. Like she knew something the police didn't. Then I turned the final page. A printed photograph. Clear. Close. And my blood turned to ice. I recognized the man instantly. Because I had spoken to him at the funeral. He was tall. Gray hair. Kind smile. He wore a dark coat and stood near the front of the chapel. He even shook my hand. I'm sorry for your loss, he had said. I looked at Emily. That man? My voice cracked. That's the killer? Emily nodded slowly. Yes. The memory replayed in my head. The handshake. The calm voice. The way he watched the coffin go down. He was standing right next to us, I whispered. Emily wiped another tear away. He's been watching you your entire life. My heart slammed against my ribs. But how did he finally figure it out? Emily hesitated. Then she looked toward the envelope again. The one Mom addressed to me. You didn't finish reading it, she said quietly. I unfolded the letter inside. Mom's handwriting filled the page. My chest tightened before I even read the first sentence. Ryan, if you are reading this, it means I couldn't protect you anymore. My hands trembled. The men who killed your mother believed you died with her. But one of them never stopped doubting the story. I kept reading. Each sentence heavier than the last. He spent decades searching for proof that you survived. My breathing slowed. And last year, he finally found it. The next line made my stomach drop. Because I made a mistake. My hands tightened on the paper. What mistake? I whispered. Emily already knew. You, she said softly. You posted your DNA online. My mind flashed back instantly. A genealogy test. One of those ancestry kits. A stupid curiosity during lockdown. 23andMe, I whispered. Emily nodded. That database connects to law enforcement networks. Cold dread flooded my chest. And someone searching for Claire Morgan's bloodline, found you, Emily finished. Silence swallowed the room. 32 years of hiding. Destroyed by a plastic saliva tube. My hands shook as I finished Mom's letter. Ryan, if the man who killed Claire ever finds you, there's only one person who can protect you now. My eyes moved to the last line. And the name written there. Daniel Mercer. I looked up slowly. Mom trusted him. Emily nodded. He spent 32 years trying to keep you safe from a distance. The truth settled heavily in the room. The man I had just discovered was my father, was the only reason I was still alive. And then another realization hit me. Hard. The killer came to the funeral because he finally confirmed who I am. Emily's face tightened. Yes. A cold wave passed through my chest. He knows now. Emily nodded slowly. Yes. A long silence followed. The house felt darker. Like the past had finally caught up with us. I looked down at Mom's letter one last time. At the life she built around a lie. A lie meant to save me. For 32 years, she carried that secret alone. And I only discovered it after we buried her. I folded the letter carefully. My voice barely came out. All this time, I stared at the safe. At the photos. At the story Mom protected until the very end. She wasn't hiding the truth from me. Emily shook her head. No, her voice cracked again. She was hiding you from the truth. And now that truth was finally out. The man who killed my mother knew who I was. My real father had spent decades preparing for this moment. And the woman who protected me my whole life, was gone. Which left one final decision. Do I stay hidden, like Mom wanted? Or do I step out of the shadows, and help my father bring the man who murdered my real mother to justice? Because if exposing the truth finally ends this nightmare, it will also destroy the memory of the woman who sacrificed everything to protect me. So tell me something. If revealing the truth about someone you loved would shatter the story everyone believes about them, would you still tell the world?